What is going on, everybody? It is your man, R0B, back at it again with another New York Giants video. And I don't think I could say back at it again because we went on a little bit of a hiatus. Been a lot going on, with the holiday season, work, personal things. It's just been a craziness. Um, I guess to kind of sum it up, obviously we had the holidays. So happy belated you know, New Year's Eve, Christmas to you, Thanksgiving, all of that. Right around Thanksgiving, got the flu, and I had that for a couple of weeks. Then I got strep. Then I got a regular cold. Then I got um, some other strep again. My dog passed away. It's just been a nightmare. So there's been a lot going on to say the least. So I took a little bit of a hiatus, took a little bit of a break. And also part of it was, I kind of wanted to enjoy, the Giants season as a whole. And what was happening. I wanted to be able to enjoy that. And it was a good block, a good block out for, things that were going on, outside of the actual, um, outside of the actual, season, like things that were going on personally and stuff like that. It was a good block out. So, but in this video, man, I'm gonna I know it's late, and I know the season's been over. We're gonna go to the Super Bowl here, with the Eagles playing the Chiefs. But I wanted to kind of make this video here, and I'm gonna have some others that are gonna be coming out, but kind of giving my recap and thought process on the 2022 season for the New York Giants. Now, before we go ahead and dive into that, do me a quick favor. Go ahead and smash that like button. It does help the videos get noticed. Smash that subscribe button. Turn on those bell notifications so that you never miss another upload. All right, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So we're going to get into a lot of different videos, man. It's going to be ramping up with the off season that's going to be coming up here, with moves, draft, free agency, this, that, and the third. So stay tuned onto the channel, and we're going to be I got some plans on things that I'd like to try to do and try to get into motion. So, but let's go ahead and I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on the overall of the New York Giants season. So, overall, I think it was a good season, right? So we finished 9-7-1, and it was good to have a winning season, to see the New York Giants in the postseason, get a postseason win. It was a great opportunity and a great thing to watch, to be able to see it unfold. And I thought that there were definitely some highlights within the season. Saquon Barkley had a great year, over 1,300 yards on the ground. You had Dexter Lawrence that emerged, as a great, interior nose tackle. Julian Love had a fairly decent season, as well. As far as when it comes to, interceptions, we were kind of low on that, but I think Julian had two. But Dane Belton, a rookie, was tied with Julian Love with two interceptions as well. Daniel Jones, 3,200 passing yards. I think he had 760 on the ground. 22 total touchdowns, and he cut down on the interceptions as well. So overall, I mean, it was a fairly good performance on all facets. The New York Giants had about, I want to say from what I'm looking at here, they had 352 first downs compared to allowing their opponents to have 370. Their first downs, they were 150, 170, and 32. So they had 150 rushing first downs, 170 passing first downs, and they had 32 touchdowns by penalty. Their third down conversion, they were 78 of 212. Not a very good conversion there. They're not even at a 50% there. Fourth down conversions, they were 10 of 21. So almost at about 50% there. Total offensive yards, he had 5,676 compared to 6,089 that they gave up to opponents. As far as offense, their plays, they averaged 1,089 plays, which averaged about 5.2 yards per average with those plays. Total rushing yards was 2,519 compared to 2,451. So they were almost giving up as much as they were accruing, so which isn't very good. The rushing, they had about 520 rushes for an average of 4.8 yards per carry. The total passing yards was 34-31, and they've allowed 36-38. So they actually allowed more than they accrued. Their passing, they had 346 passing attempts 520 passing attempts. 346 of those were completed. They had 6 interceptions for an average of 6.6 yards per pass. They had 49 sacks. They allowed 41. First field goals, they were 29-32 compared to 37-43. Touchdowns, they had 39 compared to 37 that they allowed. As far as touchdowns, they had 21 rushing touchdowns, 17 passing touchdowns, 0 returns. And then they had 2 defensive touchdowns from what it looks like here. And their turnover ratio was 3. Now, if we continue to go through here, like I had stated before, when it came down to, rushing, Saquon Barkley, 295 rushing attempts, 1,312 yards, and he had 10 rushing touchdowns. Daniel Jones, 3,205 yards passing, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. As far as rushing, Daniel also had 708 yards, not 760, on 120 attempts, and he had 7 rushing touchdowns as well. Receiving, receiving was light, to say the least. We had Richie James, which led the team in receiving yards with 569. Now, as far as receptions, he was tied with Saquon Barkley at 57. So Richie James had 57 receptions. Saquon Barkley had 57 receptions. Saquon also had only 338 yards receiving. He was I believe he was the 4th highest receiver on our roster here. Richie James did not lead the team in receiving yards. It was actually Darius Slayton. He had 724. Richie James with 569. Isaiah Hodgins came in at 351. And the rest was all kind of chunk change. Now, as far as touchdowns, Richie James had 4. I believe he did lead the team. We also had Isaiah Hodgins with 4, who also was tied with him. Darius Slayton had 2. Daniel Bellinger had 2. Wandale Robinson had 1. So it was definitely a low performance offensively. From a defensive standpoint, looking at the tackles, Julian Love had 124 total tackles. He had 79 solo, 45 assists. He had 1 sack, 1 fumble. 1 forced fumble. Jalen Smith, 87 total tackles, 46 solo, 41 assists. He had 1 sack. Dexter Lawrence, 68 total tackles. He had 35 solo, 33 assists. He had 7.5 sacks. Fabian Moreau, 66 total tackles, 50 solo, 16 assists. I don't believe that he had an interception. Micah McFadden had 59 total tackles, 36 solo, 23 assisted tackles. Adoree Jackson had 51, 40 solo, and then 11 assisted tackles. Interceptions, Julian Love and Dane Belton tied with 2. Landon Collins had 1, and Rodarius Williams had 1 as well. Graham Gano was 9 of 10 from 30 to 39 yards for field goals, 10 of 11 for 40 to 49 yards. 8 of 9 from 50 to 59 yards. He did not hit a 60-plus yarder. He did not hit or attempt one at all. And then punting, Gilliam had 75 punts for 3,463 yards. He hit 26 in the 20. He had 28 returned. And his net average was about 40.6 yards. That was, and then we didn't have any special teams touchdowns. So no punt returns, no kick returns, nothing. So listen, overall, when it comes to the Giants, man, this was, to me, I don't necessarily say a rebuilding year. This was a re-evaluating year. They wanted to go ahead and see where the roster was compared to what they needed to do. And this was evaluating the quarterback position, the running back position, the wide receiver, the O-line, the defensive line, the linebackers, the corners, the safeties, everything across the board. This was going ahead and evaluating that entire roster. And I think they got some answers that they needed, right? I think that they figured out exactly, what Saquon Barkley can do, at 1,300 yards. Will he be back? I'm not too sure. We'll talk about that in another video, but, Barkley proved his worth and what he's capable of. Daniel Jones proved that what his worth and what he's able to do, on this roster. So all in all, I think that, Joe Shane and Brian Daboll have an idea as far as, where this roster is, what they need to do to better the roster, and they're going to make the decisions necessary that they need to do to get this roster where it is. I'll tell you what, though, the game that we had in regarding to the division matchup against the Eagles, I was hyped for that game. I wanted us to win for that game, and the fan in me was like, yeah, man, we have a chance in that game. We had no chance. And when after the game was over and it was pretty much a blowout, it came down to reality that, reality set back in. Our roster is just so far off from being where it needs to be able to compete in this division. The Philadelphia Eagles have a really, really amazing roster across the board: O-line, D-line, linebackers, corners, safeties, quarterback. I said O-line, wide receivers, skill position, tight end, across the board. They have a good roster, and we need to be able to compete with them. Dallas, 70% of their team is consisted of rookies that they've kept, which is incredible. So they draft really, really well. Their offensive line is decent. They have a good pass rush. They have a good defensive line. Their linebackers are decent. Their corners are maybe a little bit skeptical, right? Except for, Trayvon Diggs. They've got Trayvon. Their safeties are young. They've got their quarterback. They've got young wide receiver talent as well. They've got some good tight end play and some guys that were rookies this year that they drafted, and like Jake Ferguson and Hendershot, right? So that looked like they were going to be pretty promising players in this league. Some young wide receivers, like I said. Tony Pollard really had a great year. It stinks that he got injured when he did, but he had a great year, and he looks to see that he has a promising future as well. So when it comes down to it, man, it just really, we're just kind of far off. Even when it comes to the Washington Commanders, I think the Commanders have a great roster. They've got a stout defensive line. Their offensive line is maybe a little bit questionable, right? They've got good skill position weapons, with Terry McLaurin and Dotson and Curtis Samuel, right? Their tight end position is kind of up in the air. Logan Thomas has his moments, right? But if they can get consistent tight end play, from Logan Thomas, definitely would help out, right? They have good corners, Kendall Fuller. So they have good corners there. And they got some young safeties as well. And their linebacker play isn't bad, but it's not great, right? They have some good edge threats there with Young, if he can stay healthy. Montez Sweat on the edge as well. And then their interior linebackers is probably where they need the most help, right? So it really they have a good roster. I think they have a good roster that, if they can get some average or above average quarterback play, they could be a pretty good team in this division. And I mean, listen, I don't want to, say this, and some people are going to get upset, with what I'm about to say. But the Giants could very well, if Washington gets some average or above average or good quarterback play, we could very well finish last in this division. So we have a lot of work to do, and I think that this season went ahead and really showed everything that we need. We need interior line, we need linebackers, We need corner help. We need skill position help at the wide receiver position. So, and there's much more. And I'm going to dive more into it, but in other videos. But we need a lot of help. And so I think that they got the answers that they were looking for. I think they found some cornerstone pieces that they can go ahead and try to build around. Like Dexter Lawrence is a guy that you can build around on the defense. I think he's going to be here for a while. Could they go ahead and potentially build around Saquon Barkley? Do they believe in Daniel Jones? Could they build around Daniel Jones? Who knows, right? So, I think they found out where this roster is, found the key pieces that they needed to find. Xavier McKinney is another one that's, was having an all-pro year, then hurt his hand. So I think, I think they found some players that they want to try to build off of and have around this roster for a while and continue to grow, and we'll see what happens with it. But this offseason is going to be interesting to see what they do. They have some tough decisions to make, some contracts to offer, some contracts not to offer. So we'll find out what they do. But that's my honest opinion. I was excited about the team. I was excited about the season. I definitely feel like we overachieved, and it was a lot of fun. It was really a lot of fun, and it was good because it helped block out a lot of things that I was going through personally, to be able to have the team there. When we lost, man, I was upset. I was hurt. I was upset, and it's the way we lost as well. But it just showed me, like I said, how far off we are as a roster, and we definitely need to continue to build up this roster to have any chance of having long sustained success in this division. And really it's going to start with the fact of the quarterback. Look, I mean, everybody wants to say this, that, and the third about how they feel about Daniel Jones, right? But when you pay your quarterback, when you get your quarterback and you pay your quarterback has to be able to lead your team, especially when you start losing key pieces around you, because of the fact that you're paying your quarterback. The quarterbacks nowadays, the top quarterbacks, they're going to be getting close to what, $50 million a year. So when you're getting that kind of money, it's going to limit you as far as what you're going to be able to do at other key positions, right? So, if your quarterback cannot carry a team when it's at its bare minimum, right? Then you need to find somebody that can. And I'm not saying that Daniel Jones can't. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that's the reality of it, right? That's the reality. That's what it is. They have to, if they believe in Daniel Jones, and they need to build around him. If they don't, then they need to go find somebody that they do believe in and build around him. But all in all, I was happy with the season. I love seeing the fight and the grit from this team. Brian Daboll, easily coach of the year, in my opinion. Definitely should get it. If he doesn't, I'll be upset. But what he was able to do, what Joe Shane was able to do with the minimal cap space, with injuries, dealing with that, they did a hell of a job, hell of a job. I'm super proud of them, super proud of the coaching staff, the players, the organization as a whole. And I couldn't be more proud to call myself a Giants fan. So that's all I got. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know, what was your guys' favorite parts of the season, favorite moments? What is your overview? Let me know down in the comments section. Again, if you guys are new, please go ahead and hit that like button. It does help the videos get noticed. Smash that subscribe button. Turn on those bell notifications so that you never miss another upload. I'm R0B, signing off. Go Giants.